Hello, everybody. So, really quickly, this is some of the best tips that I've had to follow, and I know other couples who have stable relationships follow by these sort of set of rules, boundaries, whatever. Um, I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm not a professional in relationships. Like I said, I've just seen couples getting along really well, kind of using this system. First of all, if you don't trust your partner because they've proven themselves untrustworthy, then this is not for you because you know what your problem is. They can't be trusted. So that's the case. You just move along. This is not for you. Don't be wasting your time on somebody who doesn't value you. I think that's pretty standard and common sense. With that being said, if you are in a long term relationship or you want to be in a long term relationship, here are some things to consider if you're in a roadblock or something with your relationship. One of the topics is resentment. Resentment happens when somebody in the relationship does something and you personally feel like it's breakup worthy. But for some reason, you don't break up with them. Maybe you didn't set clear boundaries, so they didn't know that they were overstepping those boundaries, or whatever the reason. You didn't leave them, even though you feel like you could have. And now you really haven't gotten over whatever it was that they did. Heartburn. So now that you're not over it, but you say you are, or you're trying, you have this baggage that was built during the relationship that you're carrying with you on your back through the relationship, just dragging, and you sometimes forget about it when you guys are having a good time, but then it creeps in the back of your mind. It's like you resent this person because of this, and you're worried that they're gonna relapse, backtrack, whatever, to make to throw off the stability of your relationship. And at this point, there's no room for error. If you resent them, then everything they do, if it's not up to your standards, then you feel like you have all rights to bitch about it and complain instead of, moving forward peacefully. You're stuck in this cycle of what if they go back to doing that, or you know what? On the other hand, you just might want to get your revenge for it, because you're like, I'm not going to get over it until I get even. You know what I mean? Or maybe you're like me and you're like, mama don't play to get even, mama plays to win. So if you have that mindset, uh, then that's not really conducive to a healthy relationship. So once there's resentment, I'm not saying that it's impossible to get over it, but if you really want to make it work, you have to get over it. And if you feel like you just want to get revenge, like you don't really care where the relationship is going, well then it may end sooner than you realize. You know what I mean? So resentment, you have to really get over it, or your relationship is not going to go anywhere. Okay? And people are not always ready to forgive. This person might be like, okay, we're done. That's over with. But you're like, I'm just not going to forget about it that easily. So, but then the other person's like, but how long? And you're just like, as long as it takes, and that's really going to stunt your relationship growth right there. Resentment. Yikes. The other thing is communication. Sometimes we feel like we're saying things in a polite way, telling somebody something. For example, if you're in the bedroom with your significant other and you notice they stop doing this one thing that you like them to do a lot, and you bring it up in that moment because you're like, okay, this is the third round and I'm not receiving what you used to give me, and they might not take it so well because they're feeling attacked. So instead of, you expect them to say something like, you know what, I'm sorry, let me give that to you now since that's what you want. Instead they get defensive and they're like, whatever, they just don't react well to it. And you may think, because everything's all tense now, you might be thinking like, oh, so you don't want to give me what I'm asking for? This is why I don't ask you for anything. You know what I mean? And in reality, you think that this is worth breaking up over, but really you just need to give it some time. Just, they heard you. Trust me, they heard you. Sometimes they're just not ready to give it to you in that moment because now they feel like the moment has passed. It's no longer romantic for them or whatever, which it wasn't for you to begin with. But you know what I'm saying? Y'all are not on the same page. You just have to give them time to process what has been said to them. Let them get out of that defensive, like victimized mode that they are in, and let them come to their senses. next time you can see that they make the effort. And if they don't, it's either because they're being spiteful, petty, or because they just don't care. And if that's the case, then maybe they just are not the right one for you. The next thing is a lot of people think that relationships are give and take, right? I have to tell you that that's not the case. Relationships with an intimate partner are about give and give. And the reason for this is because if everyone is giving, then everyone is receiving, right? When you get into this give and take type of mentality, you're not, exchanging lawn tools with your neighbor. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I let you use my wheelbarrow last week. Let me use your garden hose. That's not what this is. This is a significant, intimate relationship that you have. And what that is supposed to be is, I want you to be happy. I want to make you happy. Rather than, okay, so who's going to start giving? Okay? Because the first person who gives is going to get something taken from them. If everybody is giving, everybody is receiving. And I repeat that because I want you to remember, okay? When you get into the give and take scenario, it's like, first of all, who's supposed to give first? Gender roles are not going to help us here, okay? Who gives first? That's what you got to worry about now, because you're in give and take. You're like, I'm not giving first. You didn't give me nothing. Well, I'm not giving you anything. Don't do that. Just give. Just give and give. Okay? It doesn't need to be one-sided. If it's one-sided, then that means that this other person's taking and receiving everything, and even though that you're giving them. Okay? So that's one-sided. Giving and giving means that both sides are going to have something to, you know what I mean? They'll be appreciative. They'll continuously, this is a beautiful circle. This isn't a vicious one. This is one where everybody is going to benefit. Whereas with a give and take, it's kind of like a tit for tat. You know what I mean? It's like you might even be reluctant to give this person something. The only reason you're doing it is because you feel obligated or you feel like you owe them. Sometimes people will try to pay you off. And that's certainly not a healthy relationship. So if you're stuck in this give and take routine, try and give and give. If you're mad at your partner and you just don't want to talk to them, don't talk to them until you're, ready to be calm. But instead, do something nice for them. You know what I mean? Don't neglect your chores. Don't, dishonor your commitments to them because you're mad at them. Stick to those commitments. Do what you're supposed to do. Do what you said you were going to do, because that's the quickest way to get back on track with your partner, whereas opposed to being spiteful. Oh, I'm not going to make your lunch because you pissed me off last night. I'm not going to iron your shirts that I told you I would iron for your meeting. It's not conducive to a healthy relationship. That's my favorite term. It's not conducive to a healthy relationship. So if you're noticing that there's resentment in a relationship and you just can't get over it, your relationship is not going to blossom. If you are expecting your partner to respond to you in a certain way after you told them something, then chances are you're going to be disappointed, and you need to give it time for them to process what you've told them. And relationships are give and give, not give and take, so that way everybody is going to benefit and nobody has to feel left out. Not to mention, if you're going to constantly try to top each other, you're eventually going to run out of, you know what I mean? There's a cap to this type of stuff, there's levels to this. But if you're going to sit here and be like, well, I just spent $1,000 on a shopping spree, what you got? You know what I mean? Like, y'all are getting a little crazy. I ain't even got that kind of budget to be shopping for nobody. And especially if it's a stay-at-home wife or something, what are they going to contribute financially? Like their job is to clean the house and take care of the kids and stuff while you're at work and keep the motor running. The other thing is that you can't think of relationships as, oh, we have to be equal. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out. It needs to be balanced, okay? A 6'4" man and a 5'2" woman are not equal. And you can see it just in the height difference, right? So while he can grab anything off of any shelf, she might have to step up on the counter just to grab a coffee cup. So it's not about equality. It's about balance. You both need each other to provide this, peaceful harmony, melody, whatever, in order to keep things running smoothly. And equality is not the word we're looking for. It's balance. So with that being said, I hope I said that clearly and you understand like where I was getting at with all that. If you can comprehend it, because I kind of talk kind of fast and my thoughts are kind of scattered. These are just some tips, you know what I'm saying? So take it or leave it. It's just my experience. Have a good one.